We are now on to our lesson 7, and this is going to be our capstone project. And I'm first going to start off in our package.json file, and this is where basically we have like the dependencies and the description for the just the setup for the project that we have. So this one's going to be confetti cuisine. It's a site for booking classes for cooking. Our main file is main.js, and the dependencies we're going to be using is http status codes. I'm gonna move to content type.js. Content type, all it does is just exports this object here, which has HTML, this property here, HTML, text, JS, JPEG, PNG, and CSS, and the values are just the content type and what type of content type is going to be. And then after that we have our router.js. First thing we do is we import our dependencies and all the other modules that we need. We require HTTP status codes. We take our content types from the other module, the other file that we have, and we take utils also. Create an object with get and post properties, and they are both empty objects. And we going to export this handle function here, which is just a try catch method. And what it's going to be doing is that it's going to be looking at our method and the URL for the request that we provide. It's going to send the appropriate response. If there's an error, it's just going to render this file here under views error.html, and then we're just going to expose these functions that we create here, get and post. And as you can see, they accept URL and action as parameters, and we're just going to be using those in our main.js. The other file that we have is utils.js. It also imports these methods that we're going to use here, these modules. It's HTTP status codes, content types, and fs, right? And it's going to export this object here that has get file and get that has the property get file, and the value is just a function that takes file and the response as parameters. It uses the fs module to read the file, and then it just if there's an error, it tells us that there was an error saving the content, or else it just shows us the data and it ends the response. And now we're going to be going to our main.js. So before we go to that, we have other views here: contact, courses, error, but you will see them rendered on our web page, and also have the styling and everything for that. So we declare our modules that we're going to use here. We have HTTP status codes, we have router, content types, and utils, and we use this function that we exported from router, right? This method that we exported from router, and the URL that we're going to provide it at first is just our default URL, and then the action that we're going to provide is this callback function here that is just going to get the file and it's going to render. So when you send a get request to the default route here, it's just going to render index.html, and if I refresh here, that's basically what we are doing, right? We're just sending a get request to our index, and we get index.html. And then if we send a get request to courses.html, we are going to render courses.html. So if I click on this button here, we go to courses.html, and this is the courses.html page that is rendered. Same thing with contact.html. If I click on contact, we get sent to contact.html, and this is the contact.html page that is rendered. And then if we send a post request, right, to our default route, right, our default route here, our index route, we can do this via this input box here, and then I'm just gonna provide an email here, and then I'm just gonna submit. That sends a post request to our default route, and it takes us to the thank you page, thanks.html. And then we have graph.png, which is just this image here that is rendered also, right? So what I can do is that I can go to graph.png. You can see it just shows us the the image. And then same thing with products.jpg, confetti cuisine.css, all of that. It's just going to show us those files. So that is it for lesson 7. Thank you.